The first question that I have for you is there a time in your research operations career when you could have used the universal ResearchOps career ladder, which shall be from this point forward just called the ladder, because that is a mouthful. Uh, Tell me the story.
Yeah, the quick answer is I could have used it right from the beginning because I think like so many of us who are in this field or who kind of find their way into this field, I didn't have any guideposts really when I started. It was kind of a smattering and collection of responsibilities and something resembling roles, but when I pitched the idea of being the very first research ops role at my organization, there wasn't a lot to go on at the time. So I was like collecting pieces of job descriptions and things that I thought constituted the work that I wanted to be doing and felt needed to be done at our organization. But I would have loved to have this as a template to really help frame the conversation and also for myself to help understand where I could go, right? That's something that I've learned along the way and along the path of like what each next level looks like for me. But I'm in a sense kind of envious of the people who are starting this journey now because they have this great framework through a collective insight across practitioners all across our field for how they can start their research ops journey.
I feel the same. I wish that I'd had that. I did build somewhat of a career ladder in previous roles, but not to that level of detail. And I could have had it even for myself, like where do I go beyond senior manager and so on and so forth? What is the path for me when I'm building a team beneath me? And what are the options for me if I wanted to be an IC, like a very senior IC? That's something that really popped out in the production of the ladder amongst the crew of club members like you that joined in kind of making it happen and brainstorming it, is we don't all have to turn into people managers. You can be like an amazing super senior IC in the organization.
Yeah, and I think that's something too that's like really important to emphasize is that just like with other roles in design or research or elsewhere, like there are those two distinct tracks, right? And there's a lot of value and opportunity to be had in both. And I think that's something that the ladder really helps emphasize is that there are these two really clear branches that you can kind of choose your own adventure within. But I think it just will hopefully drive a lot of clarity for folks as they kind of think about what path works best for them.
I love the choose your own adventure. What's the most important thing that you think people should notice about the career ladder?
I think it's the kind of evolution as you progress further up the ladder. It's the progression towards strategy and increasing scope. I think a lot with roles and career ladders traditionally, it's about kind of piling on responsibilities. And it feels very linear in that regard. I think especially with operations functions, it's much more about increasing your scope and the number of people you talk to. So while you may not necessarily be adding on layers and layers of additional work to be done necessarily in terms of like the tangibles, it's really about the influence and scope of influence, the amount of time you need to spend building relationships and conversations with more parts of your organization. That's really where I feel like the magnifying effect of research ops shines, is in that responsibility. So I think that's one thing with the ladder, noticing that and how it increasingly becomes a strategic role is something that's really worth calling out.
I mean, there's so much in there, but one is you're scaling your impact through strategy, through prioritizing, through connection, through network, which reminds me a lot of, I think it was the third episode of ResearchOps 2.0, which is about platforms and the fact that we are now platform designers, which isn't the same as getting an all-in-one tool procured and then going, there's a research platform, but it's about how do you create networks across the organization so that your network is a platform for research? How do you knit together technology that you need to make that platform so that you can have that really broad impact across the organization?
Yeah, I people ask me all the time, like I came from being a researcher previously into research ops, and a lot of folks are like, "Oh, do you miss the research part of it?" And I'm like, "Well, it never left." And the only difference is now I'm interviewing and researching the people internally. So I still get to stretch those muscles and really get to utilize all the skills that I learned as a researcher just in that broader organizational context. So I feel like that's really what's exciting about this role as you start to level up in it and move higher up that ladder, is that kind of cross-organizational impact.
Speaking of impact, what impact do you hope the ladder has in the wider profession? What results would you like to see?
I'm hoping it's a really great resource more than anything. Coming back to the beginning of our conversation, it's like, oh my gosh, if I would have had this right at the start of my journey, it would have been so much easier to not only make a case for why we need it, but also showing a very clear progression and being able to bring an immediate item of value into our org to help structure this new role. So I hope it, that's my hopes for what the ladder itself will help do.
I agree. And I also hope that we see really great job descriptions coming out as a result. That folks who have never hired a ResearchOps professional and aren't like you with a lot of experience, you can write really nuanced and accurate job descriptions. They're able to look at this and go, oh, okay, so I'm hiring at a coordinator level. And therefore, these are the sorts of things that they would look at that would be, for me, such a cool thing to see.
Yeah, driving a lot of clarity in that too. I mean, especially in the market we find ourselves in, right? It's harder than ever to not only find roles that are a good fit, but also just trying to drive that clarity and understanding, like, am I a good fit for this role? Not only in terms of my skill set, but also just from a cultural standpoint and from a like background and career progression standpoint of like, is this a good fit for me now? And is this a good fit for me as I move up that ladder in the future for sure?
Is there anything that you would like to add about the ladder that we haven't spoken about yet?
Like anything else, like any other good template, it's there to be adapted, right? It's there to be a starting point for what you want to tailor internally within your own organization. I think that's a really important aspect of this too, is that so many ops resources that we craft are always with the intention of it being like a guidepost rather than this permanent flag we plant in the ground, right? This is an amalgamation of a collective knowledge of all people's little bits of nuance, pieces of very specific to their organization that we've expanded into this like artifact that we put out into the world. And so I think the hope I have for it, and as people use it, is that they'll take it and internalize it and tailor it to the needs of their own organization. Hopefully learn a little bit more about how their own org is structured based on what this ladder is bringing out in a broad sense.
And I hope that if you do that, not you, but whoever's watching, and you, that you'll share it back as well and let us know how you have adapted it so that it's not universal, it's specifically built to your organization. Because who knows, maybe we do like a V2 and a V3 in years to come where we get even more understanding of where it is that we're headed and where we want to be shaping our senior, especially our senior roles as ResearchOps grows.
Yeah, it's definitely a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, Jared, thank you so much as always, for sharing your point of view and your wisdom, taking time out from the busyness of the end of the year and home life. And, wishing you an excellent 2026.
Yeah, you as well. It's a exciting time to be in research ops and can't wait to see what next year brings.
Likewise.